All right, let's try this again. Sorry about that, guys. I hope you guys can see us this time.
Yeah, we don't know. I'm not sure what the issue is or was, but
Yeah.
hopefully you all have been able to get in.
I'll just add it. What does he say?
You can't see us. So can you hear us? Says an error occurred. Did you tell him to log out and log back in?
I'm just going to add it to the. Yeah, I don't know what the issue is here. Bastards.
This is now a live episode. So we can post on Facebook. YouTube is having technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get over there. Okay, so bing, bang, boom.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. We are, we was trying to be fancy and Maximus, you hold on.
Not tonight, sugar. Not tonight. Not tonight.
I have half a mind to throw this on you. So, but here's what we're going to do.
Hey kittens, we're here.
I don't know what the hell's going on. Listen, we just followed the instructions that these hoes gave us for YouTube, and we set this shit up and we set it to play. You know what? We probably shouldn't have shared that
information
directly to the stream because it must have changed somewhere. So we'll just need to send people to the channel, and then whatever is live will come up. Okay. So all right. Anyway, so we got to toast again. First of all, cheers. Yes, Evan, we can see you when you're posting. So yes, this is where you post questions for one more week while we get it together on YouTube.
Yeah, we don't know what the hell is going on because apparently there's some linking with YouTube that says it wasn't available. We're not quite sure. We think we know what the issue was, but
so starting next week, 100%, we will only be on YouTube. That's because we are trying to drive all traffic for this channel to YouTube so that we can do some more fun and exciting things.
Yeah.
So our first milestone is to get to YouTube is having an outage. Okay,
yeah,
good.
So it wasn't us. We don't know what the hell is going on. But,
okay.
I mean, it just is what it is, and I'm just like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. So our first goal is to get to 100 subscribers.
Yes.
Because if we get 100 subscribers, then the link will no longer say YouTube / Alpha Beta Gamma Delta Epsilon _, Zeta Phi Omega Kappa Lambda Nu Z Omicron blah blah blah, and it will change to whatever because we can. If you have 100 subscribers,
we can create the link
custom. Okay. So then it'll be YouTube / the BGKH show.
Yeah, it said the link was not available. Yes, Maximus, it was not available because again, there's something going on with YouTube. YouTube is having an outage.
Trump did block YouTube. I'm not surprised. I mean, he's been doing a whole bunch of stuff. So
But anyway, we were toasting the fact that we won't have to keep saying that man's name
for about another 70 in about another 72 days. Although there's some danger, there's a lot that can go on. We can talk about all of that.
Yes.
But I can't talk about how my week was without talking about that. So, but you go ahead and say, how was your week since the last time we got together?
Well, kind of like you were saying earlier, I also didn't realize that I have been. Well, I take that back. What you missed earlier, we were trying to talk.
Thank you, Belladonna, for subscribing, and thank you for Maximus for subscribing.
Yes. I wasn't necessarily holding my breath, but I just really was not feeling good about everything, and the fact that I said that I wasn't going to watch the election results. I wasn't going to see what was going to go on. And I was just going to be, I don't want to hear anything. Somebody sent me a text message. It was like, oh, this is just bullshit. And he's going to win. And I was like, I am not watching this. So we're not doing that. 3 days later, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And when we got the victory, meaning that Joe was actually going to be in office or president-elect, I was like, I'm still waiting for the other shoe to fall because at this particular point, we're still waiting on the recount and all that type of stuff. And again, anybody knows that election process is still not going to be certified for like 20 days after the election and all that type of stuff. And so you have the electoral college vote and all that. So, I mean, listen, as long as the votes are counted properly, which I'm not even afraid of at this particular point, then we will see Joe and Kamala show out in the next 4 years. So that's been on my mind for the past week. Also, what's been on my mind for the past week is, and even this current week, as we talk about.
Thank you, Cortez. I wore it purposely.
We are. I'm currently in a forced vacation.
That's right.
You might as well call it a furlough, if you will. Where I have to friggin' use vacation time because we are actually closed. Who does that? And this is one of 4 weeks that's coming up. So I'm kind of pissed off that all of my vacation time, if I want to be paid, is going to be fucked up. So
you had to use your vacation time if you wanted to get paid?
If I want to get paid, I got to use my vacation time. And so that's eating away at the vacation time. Now, that don't mean anything about my sick, but that means my vacation time. But of course, that's still...
Girl, I'll be about to be sick. Every time I'm like...
Well, right. And so I have to... Sick. There will be mental health breaks and there will be slick days and things of that sort. But, then you could run into that issue
slick days and sick days.
Right. There will be... You run into that issue of not taking more than 2 consecutive days off or 3 consecutive days off without a doctor's note and all type of stuff. So, I mean, I can figure that out, as I go along. But... other than that, I'm still just kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop because I feel like in these last 70 something days that he may have, there's going to be some nonsense and some tomfoolery and some trickery. And I'm just trying to figure out what it's going to be. So that's kind of how my week was and how my week is going so far. Also the fact that I just stopped at motherfucking Popeyes on the way over here and some dumb bitch, I don't know whether they got shot or arrested, you have fucked up my order. I thought you like rah-rah. Yeah, but I was trying to get something to fucking eat. Like, can I get my food first and eat? Like, every time we've gone somewhere, we've already had our food. Like, we've eaten already. Like, I'm good.
Right.
But you done fucked up my order. You got 7 or 8 different police cars. You got an ambulance that came and a fire truck that came and the whole parking lot is...
This is the one right across from Addison Road?
No, this is the one right there off of Donnell Drive. Like, coming down, you get to the end of Donnell Drive. Right. Okay, I was like, you mother... I said, what the... But other than that, I had to stop at some other crackhead place and get some chicken bites that are more like chicken nuggets, and then they're crispy as hell and they're a little burnt.
They deep fried.
They didn't give me no barbecue sauce. They gave me some barbecue sauce, and so I'm like, whatever. Anyway, but other than that, I'm good. So please continue with how your week was.
So we already talked about Tuesday into Wednesday, and we was
next week you start work.
Yes,
bitch.
Here we go. No, there's no bullshit with that, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
So just put a pin in that. But all right, so Tuesday and Wednesday, I was like, here we go with this bullshit again. And I started to get those bubble guts. That bubble guts when you like, I'm gonna have to deal with this fucked up ass situation. And it's one of those, I get the bubble guts like that when it's like a situation where I have no choice but to deal with something. And I don't know how it's going to turn out. And then, so I woke up on Thursday and it was like, oh, well,
Tide seems to be turning a little bit.
You know, Friday it was like this tide might be turning, but I was like you, I was like,
yes, Mateo, come on for the Infinity Stone.
Yes, I did watch. No, I didn't watch the shirt because I only wore it for that 1 hour for the show that we were on. But I wore it today for a very specific reason. Oh, and she's talking about when I went out on Saturday.
I was gonna say, and I just wore mine because it was clean, and I was like,
so then on Saturday, you know, I get these notifications. So because listen, I had against my own rules. I had started. Like I had CNN, I had the CNN app and the HuffPost app on constant refresh. Like every 60 seconds, I was hitting the refresh button to see what it was saying because it was like, because it could be some bullshit, any moment up until the last moment. And because they know who this dude is, this isn't like anybody else. Because for anybody else, if people understand how this shit goes, yeah, even when they call the election for Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama or George Bush, the count still goes on, but it becomes a statistical impossibility for the other person to win. So
absolutely.
Even though all of the votes aren't in, it'd be like, all right, 75% of the votes are in, and here are the trends. The trends are this person is getting 85% of all votes, and the other person is getting 15% of all votes. So if that trend, it's a statistical impossibility that of the remaining 20%, even if that other person got all of those votes and none of those votes, that they couldn't actually win. So people that understand math understand that, and people that understand politics actually understand that, but we're not dealing with logical people. So I knew that they weren't going to call it until they had some proof. And then so I first got the notification on CNN. Then I got the notification on the HuffPost. Then I went to the AP website.
Yep.
And I was like, oh.
FY, AP is hooked up to Google because they had it on the second. It was refreshing. And I was like,
yeah. So I didn't post it. I didn't post it on Saturday until I had seen it in at least those two places. And I'd also gotten, because, I get the local NBC4 news app, and it said, Joseph Biden and Biden Harris, elected or whatever it said. And then I was like,
right. Like that's all that you could do.
I didn't even realize that I had been fucking holding my breath for 4 years. I mean, yes, did we go on with our lives?
Absolutely.
But like every day it was like, oh, Muslims can't come to the country. Oh, my Chinese friends who went home for Chinese New Year, can't come back. You're like, oh, they're giving women forced hysterectomies. Oh, they're separating children from as young as newborns from their parents.
Yep.
And just like it's like it just was like how much more can you pile on? It's like being in an abusive fucking relationship with the place where you live. It is like walking around on eggshells. It was like, oh, every time a police car pulled up beside me, I was like, is this going to be like, it's your turn, nigga. We've talked about this, we're 50 years old and I've never had even a single negative interaction with the police. And every time, I have never had I've gotten tickets, but I've never had a negative interaction with the police. And I was like, is it just a matter of time?
Oh, the screen is so dirty. I'm trying to clean it.
So to just listen, it's not like the whole world is now, shits and giggles, and everything is perfect now, but it's just like, and we're still going to have to push Biden and Harris because, they're already talking that bullshit. Joe Biden has already said that he's not for defunding the police and other stuff, but at least you get the feeling that, you could at least listen, that they'll at least listen to what the fuck you have to say, and that they'll be at least open to some negotiation. Because AOC said, this is like, it's the nature of politics. No one gets everything that they want. They negotiate. Yeah, she has this Green New Deal. Yeah, Joe Biden said he wasn't for all of the elements of it, but this is what being an adult is about working with people and negotiating.
Yeah, and I think like I was saying in earlier with my election choices, you're never going to get 100% of what you want from any single person.
Right.
Listen, I don't care what you talk about, any relationship, a house, a home, a car. I have never ever gotten 100% of every single thing that I've ever wanted out of
even when you build your own fucking house.
Yeah, like it's never been that.
Even if you have an unlimited amount of money,
and it's
you
always,
just can't get everything that you want.
It's all, and so even in going into this election, for me, it was always a choice of the lesser of two evils. And what I mean by that is not saying that Joseph and Kamala are evil. Nor can I. Well, I can't say nor can I say that about Trump, but that's a whole nother situation.
Yeah, he's evil.
But it was very much of, I know that they still feel differently about some things, but they are not him, because he is the more evil, the most evil, I can't even think of a word to like make him like infinite evil or whatever, than any other contestant or any other person running. And I was like, he has to go. Your 4 years in office, your politics, your thoughts, your beliefs, the way you gaslight in a passive aggressive way. And I don't even necessarily know if it's really passive aggressive.
It's actively aggressive.
It's actively aggressive, but since you're in the presidency, the words just can't come out of your mouth.
But often it does. It's not even subtle.
Yeah, and I mean, so it's kind of like, I don't know. He had to go, and I'm sorry. And while I may have some reservations about Joseph and Kamala, I still feel like they are the better choice for me.
That's what some people was like, well, you activate, there was like, I refuse to accept, that we'll take anybody because it's, anybody but Trump. I was like, but that is what it is. It literally is anybody but Trump. Anybody. I'm just going to be blunt. I was 100% behind Elizabeth Warren.
I was okay.
Elizabeth Warren was my number one. Kamala Harris was number two. Bunch of other hoes, then Joe Biden, and then probably Pete Buttigieg.
I actually liked Bernie.
I
liked Bernie at some particular point. It was like, okay,
right.
Cool.
But I'm just be clear. But if any of those
the person opposing Donald Trump, I was all for it.
Yeah, any name that had ended up at the top of the ticket would have gotten my vote, and gladly. There would have been, because again, we've seen. I mean, it literally came down to, as we proceeded through these 4 years, I literally used to think about, well, there are people alive today who were alive in like 1935 who lived in Germany, right? And as Hitler started talking all that foolishness, I feel like there were some people who had to be like, oh, girl, what the
traumatized?
Or no, I'm talking about in 1935 as we were building up to it. It was like, and I felt like this is where we were headed to. I was like, this can't be the fucking world that I want.
Anybody that's ever taken public transportation, who can get us closer to the stop where we want to be? I'd rather walk 2 blocks to glory than 55. Exactly.
So anyway, I called you or texted you and a few friends, because I said that I was going to go out, but by going out, I was going to brunch. And after brunch, I was drunk, and we were going to go to a museum. And after the museum,
you got drunk?
Not drunk, but I had
but you got a little buzz on.
I had a big ass frozen margarita with my tacos and guacamole at this spot in Alexandria. And then we went to this museum, and I had sex in the garage. And
you had a very full day. You had liquor,
and then
food,
then it was Pup Indigo was like, "You going down to Black Lives Matter Plaza?" Because we went together last time. And I was like, I don't think so. Because I was like, plus I'd already said people to come over. So like maybe 8 people came over, and we sat around, we watched a little TV, we commiserated, and it was just.
And to be quite honest, I was actually still fucking like in my feelings, like about, even though I had a DNA appointment, but I was still in my feelings about it. I was kind of like, we won. Like you just like, I mean, grab that lube. but like we won. Like, yeah, no, that not that one. The other lube, yeah. I was that's kind of how I was processing it. Like,
it was all like, just like this. I did, you felt like yes in a garage, Tyra. So we was in the garage, and I give the slave that look, and I was like, I said to him, "It's not a lot of cars around, are there?" And he was like, "No, sir, it isn't." I was like, "Why don't you drive down like 3 or 4 levels?" We drove around and around and around until we found a place where there was nobody. Then we parked on the side, and I was like, "Are there any cameras?" Don't see any.
And even if it was at this particular point,
visible cameras.
Yeah, I mean, it's like y'all are 2 consenting adults.
No, I didn't film the garage episode. I don't do that sort of thing in the garage.
I was just kind of
like so we did that. Then we went to the museum, and then I had people coming over. And so, yeah, but then now here we go with the bullshit. So we'll get all into all of the bullshit today. But what I will say is that, yes, we're waiting, for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
But that shoe will not be involved in the election. The shoe will be what happens in these 70.
That is the shoe for me.
73 days. Because let's just be clear. As of 7:45, when I stopped watching Joy Reid, because she comes on, the readout comes on from 7 to 8.
Can we talk about Joy Reid though?
She gives me life.
Listen, I love everything about Joy Reid. Joy Reid for me is like that good girlfriend.
Max says YouTube is working. Okay, so yeah, it was. You can stay here for now. It's fine, or you can switch over to YouTube if you'd like. But yes, next week we will only be available via the YouTube channel.
Joy Reid gives me everything that I need. I love the fact that she is a polished Black politico that is
still a little bit around the way though.
Yeah, she's not so uppity that you can't relate, but she understands. Like, I would love to sit down with her and get fucked up. Like, I'd love to go shot for shot with her with like go back with what's her name? Cinnamon. Fireball.
Oh.
I'd love to go shot to shot with her with Fireball.
Yeah.
And then when I get finished, like, girl, let's go ahead and sit down and have this little Tennessee honey. We're gonna sing over cocktails. But what I will say is, and this is a plea, this is a direct plead to the person that is doing her hair and makeup. Please, please, on everything that is gay and holy for the hair and makeup, and some of our listeners can understand this. Can you just stop taking her wigs out the plastic bag and shaking them and put it on her head, please? Please. Please. Because I like Joy. I really do. But some of these squeezes that she's like, "Hi, I'm Joy Reid." So I'm like, Joy, no. Listen, your hair and makeup team, your glam squad was setting you up. I don't know if you haven't been paying them a lot. I don't know what's going on, but please, I'm appealing to my gay brothers and sisters that might be doing her hair and makeup.
Whoever works at MSNBC,
please. I don't want to see no more shake and goes on her head. Please, please, no.
I will say that her hair, she is on an interesting hair journey every day.
I'm Joy Reid.
It's literally like that. It is literally like that.
Joy, no. And you are so polished. Like, you are so polished.
And she's beautiful.
And she's a beautiful woman.
The skin, like, her skin regimen is glowing.
And I'm like, Joy, right here. And listen, I understand that we as a culture may be too fixated on certain things, but baby, I'm not even going into the natural versus relaxed or perm. I don't even give it. But just make it look like it didn't shake out of the bag and that shake and go. I just can't.
Well, listen, at least she's got someone to do halfway decent makeup for her.
Her makeup I'm just that. Listen, that shake and go has got to go.
Her hair is if I'll Fly Away was a person.
Exactly, Tyra.
It is very that. So, so then, this week has just been, Oh, so I made the beef rendang. It's the Indonesian curry.
Yeah, I did see that, and I was kind of like, he wasn't.
I'll save a little bit from you,
but you weren't blown away by it.
No, well, first of all, I didn't want it the way that it was when I first had it back in 2000. That shit blows your whole wig back.
Marcus, I absolutely adore Joy. She is the reason why I actually watch as much politics as I do, but I cannot focus. I'm watching television now like this.
Right.
I'm trying to block out her hair. It just.
So the rendang was very good. I made it in the Instant Pot and everything. I got a little bit. You can taste a little bit of it. It's spicy in a good way. But like the first time I had the beef rendang, it will darken your hair.
Was it Leather Stallion change your life or like?
It was, but it was super spicy.
Okay, I can deal with that.
This was spicy, but it wasn't. Now, of course, my sister was like, "Oh my God, it's so spicy!" But she weak.
All right.
So anyway, so this week I have started putting together my Christmas tree. Did you see it as you walked in?
I did. Listen,
don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. You can say how much you love it.
So to be clear, it was actually on my list of something that I wanted to do for myself, literally the way that you have it. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, fine. But it goes down as one of the gayest Christmas trees.
Oh, it's very gay.
One of the gayest Christmas trees ever.
I am one of those
signing
gays.
On a dotted line for all of the approvals. I'm signing in my rainbow ink, in calligraphy and hand-drawn, just extra flourishes all through it. I'm signing all over it.
Wait till you see the
finished
what I'm going to do for the bodice. I'll show you what the bodice is going to look like.
Because listen, I'm here for it. So
you'll see. I'll probably be finished with it by the time we have.
But are we? I guess we are here. Yeah. Because I don't know.
Oh yeah, we're definitely here next week because my good girlfriend Dominique Morgan, who used to be the host of reality when I first joined the show, has come and it's no secret that Dominique Dominique is coming to talk about her album because the bitch can sing.
Okay.
She can sing. She's the executive director of an organization called Black and Pink that helps what is it? I think it's formerly incarcerated and formerly incarcerated people with a focus on Black and Latina trans people.
Okay.
And so, she's a speaker, speaks at Harvard, Georgetown. I mean, this ain't just some bitch just, be hanging out. And she's also trans.
Okay.
And so Wednesday is the show and Friday is Transgender Day of Remembrance. So, it's sort of a big all wrap into the thing. So she's going to be on the show live via satellite.
Satellite. Dominique, are you there? Are you there, Dominique? Are you there? Oh, she'll be here next week.
We'll be there next week, and then the week after is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So we'll just have to determine whether
when we
want to make that happen.
Okay, but it'd
be cute to have like a little Thanksgiving Day episode. To do it. Well, no, people will be busy on Thanksgiving Day.
We have a lot going on. I have a lot going on that day because I'll be burning up the road as well. So we have.
Wait a minute, but you're on the list.
I know, but I'm just saying.
I'm making greens especially for you.
I said I'll be on the road as well. That means coming back here. Hello.
Okay, all right. And dinner will be a little late anyway because Trayvon.
That works.
Because Trayvon works and won't be home until 5:30 anyway.
So if you want to give that till 7, that's fine. That works. I'm just saying. Anyway.
All right. And so, this week has just been, back into my habit of watching the news all the fucking time, but I'm trying to get out of it because I just can't. It's
so depressing.
It's still depressing. And I think even once they officially take office, it's still going to be foolishness. But anyway, so the job starts on Monday. Everything seems to be cool with that. I got a call or an email from another firm here. This isn't the VP with redacted bank.
Is this a price? Is this a bidding war?
It is absolutely not.
Oh,
because I knew from the moment she started talking, as soon as she said the word data analyst, I sort of checked out. But I was like, let me see, because sometimes they'll pay you good as a data analyst, and keep it moving. So she went through the blah blah blah. This is a lovely place to work. And blah blah. We bought this company and we went from 2,000 to 9,000. Blah 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 blah. And I was like, okay,
yeah, girl, get on down to the money.
Going. And then so we started talking and all the bullshit. I give her my whole, why I'm the shit, and 20 years of experience, program manager, and I always end with the experience at United Airlines. Like, yeah, I was, let's be clear, I had gotten promoted, was moving to New Jersey to manage $100 billion worth of construction.
Yeah.
So that tells you that don't come to me with no okie doke.
Yeah.
With your when we started talking about pay. So then she was like, so what's your compensation? And so, since I don't know all of these people, I'm not gonna give no numbers here. But fine. I was like,
I'm here.
I was like, let's be clear. I'm here. This is where I was at United Airlines.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I've been every year since 2013, which I actually padded it because it was actually here. But I said,
I wouldn't expect you not to.
I say here. So this is my floor. She was like, oh, well, we don't pay any more than this. And I was like, oh, well.
Thank you so much. I was
like,
call.
you know what? With all due respect, I can't even entertain that. And she was like, oh, but I was like.
Oh, but I was what? Oh, but I was joking? Because if you're joking, that's
no. I mean, she understood. She was like, yeah, so I'll just tell my managers that, we couldn't come to an agreement on salary, and plus it was with the federal government, it was State Department and all this other bullshit. And while I might feel better about working in the State Department under a Biden-Harris administration than I would have under a Trump-Pence, still. And then, so here's what you got to think about. One, it's still all the same dumbasses that were there as career people.
Fighting.
So you're going to be fighting with them, and you've got all of these senior people who are still like so I would never deal with the most junior people. I would be dealing with the people. Actually, I wouldn't even be dealing with the people that was in your class because you said that most of those were like 11
through 13.
13s. I only did. I don't know shade.
Well, I mean,
I only deal with 14s. I only deal with 14s, 15s, and SESs.
Yeah.
But they all still need to be in those classes
but
take.
The funny thing is the 13s that get these promotions of 14s, that they're the ones that give me I'm like, but
right. So yeah,
don't get me started on it because I have another issue with that, but I'll tell you about that.
Right. So it was mess. So I was like, yeah. So whatever. So I'm just enjoying myself. I'm building my Christmas tree, making rendang, and just chilling and enjoying. Yeah, but see, Bella, you're different from other 12s and 13s because we already know you well enough to know that you don't fucks around. And one day you're going to be a 15 and an SES and in charge of that agency, and you're never going to have a problem. Is these other girls that just know? Because here's the problem. Then I'll end it. The problem is that they, people get these jobs because they know how to answer the questions in the job description.
Yes.
But they don't actually know how to do the job. Because if they did, there would not be as a large a population of consultants in the DC metro area as there are. If all of the people at the 13, 14, and 15 level were actually qualified to do their job, because they would be able to run the shit. Because you be going in and teaching them basic shit, be like, just put it in a spreadsheet.
Bella, let me tell you something. I have had people that have, because we're doing training virtually, I've had people that are like, I can't log in. Can you send me the link to the Zoom meeting? Well, first off, sweetie, we're not using Zoom. We're using MS Teams. Oh, that's right. And what do you mean you can't log in? You've been logged in for the past 3 months. I've added you in there personally. So how do you not, like, what did you switch from your work one to the, because you can choose one that login. So Bella, I just don't think that you were in that class.
Yeah, you were not in that class.
But I'm gonna just,
all right. So let's just get this election thing out of the way. All right. So we are now, Joe Biden is north of 5 million votes ahead of Donald Trump. What that means right now is that Donald Trump got 70 million votes, which is still an astounding number.
Yes, it is.
Considering that we have, at this moment, and a week ago,
it's like 149.
At this moment, we have 10 million people. And when we had the election, 9 million people had COVID and 215,000 had died. So it was almost impossible for a person in this country not to know someone who had COVID.
Yep.
And you may not have known anyone who died, but it was no 6 degrees of separation
Not
between someone who died.
Maybe 3.
You either knew someone who died, or you were friends with or worked with someone who knew someone who died.
Yeah.
So, and still 70 million hoes in this country voted him, but 75 million voted for Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the first American president since FDR, I think it was, because I was watching Joe Reed.
Okay.
To get more than 50% of the vote, because every other president, because of numbers or whatever, people not voting or third party or whatever bullshit, to get more than 50% of the vote. Joe Biden's margin is 5 million votes.
Yep.
There is no recount in the world that is going to make up
5 million
that
votes.
gap.
It's just not going to happen.
It's just not going to happen.
It's not possible.
Just is,
without cheating.
Without cheating. It's just not going to happen. So that's not where the shoe is. Yeah. The shoe is firing the Secretary of Defense with 72 days left in your administration and installing a person who has called Islam the most violent and dangerous religion in the history of humanity, installing someone who, when he was on the Wake County School Board, fought to resegregate the schools, someone who said that Barack Obama was not an American. Now, these are the 3 people among the top of these 3 people are at the top of the Department of Defense. This is shenanigans. These are the kind of things that we need to be worried about. Other people have also said that, listen, this girl, licks Putin's taint and, sucks his dick. He loves North Korea. And this hoe doesn't he doesn't understand, things like secret, top secret, all these other things. Like right now,
come on, Marcus.
You have to if you want a top secret clearance, even a secret clearance, you have to say that you will not do harm to the United States or whatever. There is demonstrable evidence that he is trying to do damage to this country.
Yes, indeed.
So think about all of the stuff that he knows right now. I mean, there is secret squirrel shit that the president of the United States knows that we don't know about and probably never will know about.
Right.
And that's fine. I mean, I don't need every president. Look at George W. Bush when he became president versus when he left, and he didn't even do shit.
Sure.
I mean, Dick Cheney did all of that work, but look at how he looked at the beginning versus the end. He aged physically more than just those 8 years. Same with Barack Obama. Same with Bill Clinton. This shit ages you because all of that stress and all that shit that you got to know. Think about that, and think about this man who is now petty and vindictive and would be so petty as to do something to make Joe Biden's job harder by fucking up or causing, as Link said earlier. I'm see that.
Was it? Okay.
But what Link said earlier is that, you start a war with Iran or North Korea or somebody, so that this is some shit that now Joe Biden has to put out because he's petty like that. I mean, today is Veterans Day, and we do want to stop and thank people like Cortez and our brother Phil,
several other brothers,
and several other brothers who currently served or have served. Thank you for your service.
Yes.
Listen, you can think whatever the fuck you like about the political apparatus of this country, but people like Cortez and like Phil and like many of our other brothers and other sisters and siblings and family and aunts and uncles have put their life on the line for the defense.
Legionnaire team.
Yes. Theo Storm. It's a lot of lots of our brothers and siblings have put their lives on the line for this country.
Velvet.
And yes, and we thank you for your service and everything that you have done. And thank God our baby Cortez is out. You know,
listen, shout out to Cortez for living his best motherfucking life. Now, let me just say this, because bitch, when I saw that picture of you with that motherfucking royal blue, bitch, I looked at my iPad and I said,
I was like,
yes,
yes. Cortez is like, I'm out this bitch. I'm going to experiment with every hair color that I can. I'm going to grow facial hair. Listen, that beard is coming in nicely. He is giving cute young trade.
But here's the other thing, Cortez. I'm gonna need to have an update on your first experience. You know, we talked about this before you left, and you were saying that once you get out, you're gonna have your first experience. I'm gonna need to have intel about this first experience. I'm gonna need to know how this actually was.
Right.
Because I'm gonna need to know what's going on.
Right. So you know, thank you all for your service. But yeah, so as Marcus said, the one thing that we you know, well, you know, your president didn't read his briefings anyway, but he'll know just enough. And let me tell you how little these people actually give a shit about this country. Is I think that there will be people who would feed him intelligence that he probably shouldn't have access to afterwards. Because again, it cannot be understated that while Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won, and they won by a wide margin, this was not there's a lot of people on here who won't remember this, but I know I remember. You were old enough to remember, even though that was 84, so we were 13. But we know Papa would remember. We know Maximus remembers. In 1984, when Walter Mondale won against Ronald Reagan, the only states that Walter Mondale won was Minnesota, because he's from Minnesota, and Washington, D.C. When I tell you Ronald Reagan fucked him dry, that is what you call it was a landslide election.
You went the other way around when Reagan won against Mondale.
Whatever.
I just, you know.
But yeah, so it wasn't that.
Yeah.
70 million people still voted for this person. So we, you know, there are going to be a ton of people, even those who are still in office, who, you know, might feed him or somehow do stuff. I mean, there's going to be a lot of moles. I think.
And
I think there's going to be like a lot of. There needs to be like some serious house cleaning.
It's going to be like a 4 to 10 year thing of getting all these people out of this house, and access to shit, because it's a lot. You've had 4 years to infect the administration and the setup of this democracy. 4 years.
However, what I don't want to do is make it sound like
how about that, Maximus?
Right.
Now, he was bad.
Yeah, Reagan wasn't as bad as this, but you know,
if Ronald Reagan's name was on the ticket versus Donald Trump, I think I'd have to go with Donald Trump, even though they're in the same political party. But still, I still would go Ronald Reagan or Donald Trump.
I'd still go with Ronald Reagan.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, yes, it'll be Ronald Reagan. I'm not saying
you said Trump.
I'm sorry. No, I would say I would go with Ronald Reagan. Yes. There's no way.
But that really would be the lesser of two evils.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
What was I saying? Yeah, we need to Biden needs to remove them all there, for the sake of national security.
But the problem is, one of the problems is Donald Trump put into he wrote a bill and trying to get it through get it passed. I'm not sure if it was or if it wasn't, but he wrote a bill that says that people, just like the administration changes with each new president, he was saying that people in their positions, if they are good at what they do and it's a matter of national security of some way, shape,
that wasn't a law. That's an executive order.
That's an executive order.
Joe Biden has already said that all them executive orders are null and void.
So, you know, that's some shenanigans shit that he's going to try to, you know, pass off. But again, I hope that Kamala and Joe, or actually Joe and Kamala, are on top of this to say, we need to scratch all of these things out and start from the house, clean.
Think about that. What that was because the reason that Donald Trump said that was because he was putting up all these unqualified ass people for jobs where they had to get security clearances and just based on their own merit, like,
Yep.
they weren't passing. It wasn't that they weren't passing the security clearance, but they weren't even passing like the preliminary screening because the position required, like if let's say let's say there was a position, chief rocket scientist, of the United States, and he was nominating some hoe who literally didn't have a degree in rocket science, and they were like,
that will be me.
But you and like any other administration would be like, but you why would you hire someone who doesn't have a background in rocket science? And so Donald Trump was like, it doesn't matter if long as they are, in the opinion of the executive, qualified to do the job. So that's why all these people are in here, but all that's out the window anyway.
Yeah.
So
these next, like I said, 70 days is going to be. And listen, Betsy DeVos, listen, I am so looking forward to this bitch. Like, I need you to pack up all of your shit off your desk. Even take a little sign that says Betsy. Take that shit, but just toss the shit out the window. Just go. Because, girl, the fact that she was like 3 blocks away from me or like 2 blocks away from me in the damn Department of Education, I was like, if I see this hoe at my CVS,
this will be the one time I wish I was still
run up on her.
Because I would be like, so what is her last day? When is her last day? And then, so I would be like, we'll find out what her schedule is. Be like this.
She rolled out over to the damn CVS near my job because that was the closest CVS. And one of my coworkers saw, he's like, I just saw Betsy. And I was like, did you spit on her? He's like, no, I wouldn't do that. I was like, why?
Why?
He said, because that would just be rude. He said, I was trying to trip her. And I was like, I said, okay, Nick.
Yes.
I said, okay, Nick, you get points for that one. I was like, okay, all right, you get points for that one. But
bitch, if I worked in an agency with her or with some of these other bitches, I would wait until that last day and I'd be like, you ain't shit.
Bye, girl. Have a nice trip.
You are an awful human being.
Like your boss that hired you, Mr. Boss, you're fired. Get the fuck up on out of here, girl. I even went to bingo.
Like if she asked some shit like it on the last day, I'm like, fuck you, bitch.
Like, girl, you're fired. I was at bingo and I heard somebody say, could you hurry up and call the damn numbers? I'm trying to help Trump to load up his motherfucking moving van. I said, oh my God.
Yes, God.
But, anyway, let's get through some of this stuff on here.
Oh, girl, because it's 9 o'clock. We did start.
We started a little late.
We started this one a little late.
Yeah,
so
we got a little bit of time. We got the other situation with the camera.
Oh, but both of the batteries are charged.
So we're gonna get through this and stick around with us for a minute because like I said, we had a little bit of late start, YouTube issues or whatever. We're gonna get through some of this stuff. Okay, so this week's stories. So far, 10 million people have been infected with coronavirus in the U.S. and the rates keep rising in 43 states. I don't know if many of you may or may not have been aware of this, but the coronavirus is still here. We've averaged 108,000 new COVID cases a day over the past week, and this was all last week. The most infections ever reported in one day was last Saturday with 128,000. Over the last week, about 23 states and regions of the country reported record new cases. And this was from a professor of medicine at Harvard Medical School. She said the death rates are high. And in fact, they represent case counts from 2 to 3 weeks ago. So that's when we had case counts of 60 to 70,000 range. So you can imagine what's going to happen in the weeks ahead. So again, I'm saying all this to say, baby, we just hold on because we are getting ready to go into the thick of it. It's getting ready to get worse before it gets a lot better. After seeing these real and alarming increases in COVID-19, some of the one of the health directors in Los Angeles was saying that if you have been out celebrating or protesting with a lot of people and you have not been wearing your mask and you didn't stay 6 feet away, she is urging that you go and get tested because again, the infection rates are going up. They're accelerating all over the place.
And a lot of again, watching Joy Reid, a lot of these infection hotspots, the hottest spots, are tied to places where the soon to be former president had these rallies where hoes was out maskless.
Red states. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that in a second too. But so
and your good Judy Herman Cain, not Herman Cain.
We gonna talk.
That's right. I did read about it, so I'm sorry.
So but listen. So those people because 45 has talked about the vaccine for COVID. And so Pfizer has been working on that. So, okay. So here's the thing. They're saying that it is 90% effective. Well, according to Michael Osterholm, the director of the Center for Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota, he said he was encouraged by the news, but he wanted to see more data as the trial continues. He's saying, I'm a bit more cautious than others, maybe because he's heard that the vaccine is 90% effective or efficacious. But we don't know 90% for what? A common cold and a fever? Is it for severe disease and hospitalizations and death? We really want to know what kind of information to be able to determine just what this impact of the vaccine will have.
So what they did was,
Pfizer's also saying it's going to be free whenever they get it together. So just so we know.
So what they said was that they basically had a population that they divided into two groups. One group got the placebo,
and
one group got whatever this drug was. In that group, let's say for the people who were receiving the infection, receiving the actual drug,
that's correct.
Their rates of infection was only 10% of what the other population was. So let's say if it was 10,000 people, it was not. It was a smaller group.
Yeah.
But let's say it was 10,000 people in one group and 10,000 people in the other group. In the one group, let's say 100 people got COVID. In the other group, the group that was actually getting the injection or whatever it was, only 10 people got it. So that's where they're saying 90%. But
again,
that's with studies like this, it's not like they purposely gave everyone COVID. So did those people go out, or were the people in the one group for whatever reason more likely to stay their ass in the house?
Exactly.
Or whatever. So unless they do a test where they purposely give people COVID and see if you do that, then you can say firmly that this drug is X% effective when someone has COVID. Also, everybody that gets COVID, as this director was saying, doesn't get sick.
Exactly.
In fact, most people don't get terribly sick, but enough people do get sick that most hospitals around the country are overrun. So let's just not act like just because the infectious rate of this disease is like 5%, not infectious rate, but the serious illness rate of this is less than 5%. 5% of
149 million people
is still
a lot of
fucking people, and way more than our hospitals can handle.
Yes.
So is it 90% effective at just preventing the disease altogether? Does it prevent you from having any symptoms or what? So there's still more work to be done. And I'm also casting a side eye on this. It's going to be free shit.
Right. Well, and we shall see how that's going to roll. So yeah. Now, I think I'm more so.
I've taken that data analyst job. If they paid $185,000, I would have, but they weren't. So I didn't.
And then there's that. So, we shall see how that goes. I think I have a little bit more faith under the next administration, but again, we shall see, because I still feel like there are too many companies that are in cahoots with the former president. So we shall see.
Yeah,
and Pfizer was on that list.
Yeah, they
were.
I think that this is such a huge thing, and especially given that there is new political leadership, that if that shit turned out not to be what they say it is, it's a wrap for Pfizer.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But
when I say it's a wrap,
it
their stock price could literally fall off a fucking cliff, because people are like, oh, well, girl, if they lie about that, they might be lying about this insulin that I'm taking. I mean, so Marcus says, would you take the vaccine under what conditions? I'm going to do just like Kamala Harris said. If the scientists particularly under a Biden-Harris administration, and Anthony Fauci, Dr. Fauci, say that this is an effective drug and says, here are the side effects, and it seems tolerable, I would take it. I mean, I'm already in an experimental drug thing like this, so I mean, you got to depend on the scientists, to.
And so for me, thank you for posing that question, Marcus. For me, I don't know I don't know if I would take the vaccine, only because I
mean, I'm gonna let other people take it first. So, if they drop dead first, but
I'm not sure how I feel about the vaccine, because I'm not sure. As long as I can research someone that has the similar attributes and or comorbidity or health issues that I may have, then I can see how that's going to play out and what the possibilities are, then yes, I probably would. Now, I am definitely a fan of the science and not necessarily anything else, because I like the numbers, but I already know that for myself, I generally tend to fall in that smaller percentage of shit. Like, I just can't do shit.
You'll be that one big
I'm that 1% of something. If it's not
they always say,
effective,
there's a very, very, very small chance of death.
That would be me. Yeah. And so, like, I already know that. Like, I couldn't even break my fucking leg like at a clean break. I had to break it in the sense they couldn't tell whether it was the leg or the damn ankle. Then I had to have a CAT scan. I had all. I can never do shit the right, clean way, to fall into that category. But so I don't know. But I definitely would be calling out the science and looking at the science first before I actually made the decision to do it.
Yeah. So I get it. I probably would if the top science and not even Pfizer science. I mean, like top scientists. Because I'm not going to tell you because Pfizer says yes. Because listen, remember Fen? Child, when everybody was like, "Oh, girl, take Fen." And it was all on the news. I remember was it Brian Williams and Tom Brokaw, and they're talking about, yeah, girl, take Fen. Everybody's taking Fen, and you lose 30, 50 pounds on Fen. And then the girls were like, you take Fen, you might let you lose a kidney, and then now your liver don't work.
Listen, and speaking of that, about this new, about Dr. Fauci, but President-elect Joe Biden has a pandemic, a COVID-19 pandemic advisory board. And one of the people that I mentioned, Dr. Michael Osterholm, is actually on that advisory council. So it's interesting to see, because I've seen that council, and it's made up of about 5 or 6 different people. I'm assuming that Anthony Fauci will be, if he's not on the board,
he can't, because he is part of the current administration, right? And his boss,
right,
will just like go fucking batshit.
But yes, Fauci is with NIH, and so while he may be the nation's leader at this particular point of the lead scientists at NIH,
epidemiologist, like National Infectious Disease or whatever,
consulted. So I just don't know how that's
and I imagine that on day one he would be offered a role on that task force.
I believe that as well, because
and I also think that under any other administration
they would have said, thank you so much for your services.
No, under any other administration they will be like, sure, you could. Anthony Fauci can be on this, and because the outgoing administration would have the interests of the country at heart, and be like, yeah, of course. But this bitch ass that we got would be like, and Anthony Fauci, you just know we already know how it would be. So,
speaking of the Joe and Kamala debacle, well, I should say debacle. There was a debacle with what a newscaster or a television anchor said about Kamala.
That was such bullshit.
But listen, and I found it hilarious. So listen, people have already called out Van Jones, and you all know Van Jones. He is a political commentary anchor person. He's the black guy with the bald head and the glasses. He looks like a husband material for like many a gay man. That's what I'm just going to say. Really he definitely looks like. So he's a big fan of Kamala Harris. And after her victory, went on her victory speech Saturday night, he said it was amazing, and that she was able to walk into a Beyonce song. And at that point, Twitter went up because the song was not even a Beyonce song; it was Mary J. Blige.
But this is what I hope we can get past. He made a mistake. Girl, let's talk about real shit.
He did.
I'm not talking about you.
But
we can talk about this. But you know that the fact that people are making an issue out of it.
They went in on him. But however, at the same time, this is the same person that was on television after Joe Biden was elected. He cried like a baby because he was so excited. He's like, you have no idea what this means.
Every time I watch that, it makes me.
Yeah, and it's like I understood every single word that came out of his mouth.
It was that same single word. It was like. It's like, how can you raise your child? Yes. How can you raise a child in this day and age? It's like, yeah, girl, you gotta lie and tell the truth. You should go to college so that you could be, you know, or whatever. When you could point to fucking Amy Coney Bryant and be like, well, girl, I could get on the Supreme Court. I mean, based on this shit.
We're gonna leave that alone.
Yeah.
Really Be TV. Oh, that we were on Really Be TV show After Dark last week.
It was cute.
It was really, we had a really good time. We were on there with one of our Onyx Brothers Elimination, as well as El Teddy. Thank you, Really Be TV. We enjoyed ourselves. We will come back whenever you need us. Make sure it fits on our schedule, though.
Yeah, girl, no one gives a fuck about Paris Denard. She can go. And you know he's a heterosexual. Well,
who?
Paris Denard.
What? He's a heterosexual?
He is a heterosexual.
So is that like is he kin to Chrisley on Chrisley Knows Best that heterosexual?
He's not quite as he's not quite as heterosexual as Chrisley Knows Best. Because when I saw Chris, I was like,
you talk me off here on a little bit of
but that's what I was like, that's his wife and his biological children. Okay. But
thank you.
Yeah. So, all right. So, a mother drowned her toddler and baby. Said their organs were worth a lot of money. Okay, she's crazy. So let's just dash over that. She's crazy.
Yeah.
Tourists banned from Yellowstone after boiling chicken in parks fame hot springs. All right, so more people were crazy. The men aged between 40 and 50 were charged and sentenced last week for cooking dinner 2 years ago in the protected park grounds. The Yellowstone spokesperson said the men brought cooking pots into a remote part of the park and dipped a pair of whole raw chickens into the steaming hot geysers. One of the men told the judge that his intention was to make dinner, but they still received fines ranging from $540 to $1,250.
Now, why the hell would you want to cook a damn chicken in a hot spring that literally people have fallen into and died, like boiled?
First of all, you don't even know what the fuck is in that. I mean,
and then you have this whole other ecosystem. Lola, just like when we were watching.
Hold on, Lola.
Lola, the article did not say that.
It did not specify. However, I think we can make an informed inference
that they were
not.
Thank you. Because we don't fuck around with no fire. We don't fuck around with no hot water. We ain't doing that. So
but I'm just like, this was, and these were older men because I was thinking these were college
they're our age. They know better.
Right. All right. So dummies. All right. Go ahead.
So anyway, Governor Cuomo, with these rising infection rates, orders a 10 p.m. curfew on New York restaurants and gyms, and going back to private parties being capped at 10 people as the COVID-19 cases, keep climbing. Bars and restaurants and gyms across New York are going to close by 10. Private parties will be limited to 10 people. And he announced this on Wednesday, Governor Cuomo, who I will say is, listen, Governor Cuomo is not necessarily the hottie, but his brother, Chris.
Yeah, I've been watching him on TV and he'd be looking right in the camera and I just be like, hey,
quit your bullshit. Just come on over here. But anyway.
Right.
But anyway.
Run my fingers through his hair and then pull on it.
Right. So anyway, there are a lot of hotspots that are brewing. And New York is actually on that list of places that is a brewing hotspot. Yeah. And so Governor Cuomo, and I'm gonna get my hats off to him, he is giving the orders and trying to take New York State out of that hot pot and actually get them on the course of lowering the infection and keeping people safe all at the same time. So hats off to Governor Cuomo. Hope your brother gets well. Both of y'all can call me.
Right.
Well, your brother can call me.
Listen, but I mean, all of this,
I'm just saying. But all this goes into effect on Friday. So just to be clear.
All right. I had been, thinking about, entertaining some dates. But then I was like, girl,
let me explain something to you.
Kept my ass safe.
I've had a very decent COVID situation going on. And I'm good with this COVID situation for right now.
Yeah.
So that's all I got. I
don't have 2 dates that I have planned, and I'm gonna follow through with those. And then they
have Kaiser. They can show you their test results on the phone. They can show you all their
I am going to be asking those questions.
Their COVID tests, right? Right on the app. It's just all testing. I'm just saying.
So, but yeah. So stay your ass at home. Limit the number of people that come to your house.
Yes.
Stop eating out. We're not out of the woods yet.
We're not.
The worst is yet to come, actually, but we could get through it.
We can.
If again, watching Joy Reid, if 15% more people wore masks regularly, which is, let's just be clear, that's the reason why, everybody's fucked up. But why this East Coast corridor is a little bit less fucked up is because when I go out to the grocery store, I never see someone without a mask.
So lately, I've been seeing people without masks.
Really?
Lately. And I'm just kind of like...
I've never seen anyone. Maybe I just haven't been paying attention. What are you doing? But I've never seen someone...
I'm starting to see people without masks, and I'm like, girl, what the fuck is going on? Like, where you think you at? But, okay. As a result of this, and I know you all are going to be all broken up about this, but, Ben Carson...
Hey, Abby!
Ben Carson actually
no.
Ben Carson actually he's the latest Trump official to test positive for coronavirus. Abby, I love you, sweetheart. But I'm trying to have a serious moment about Ben Carson being testing positive for COVID. And it was at a celebration party. It was at the election party that he was infected. And so I'm trying to send my sympathies to him because I don't want to see him die or anything. Because I really don't want to see him die. I don't want to see another person die.
I don't, nonsense. But listen.
But Ben Carson.
I'm like one of these people who's like, girl, sometimes you bring shit on yourself, because let's be clear. He is
an idiot.
Well, yes.
He was a talented neurosurgeon.
He is a neurosurgeon, a doctor, and not just any neurosurgeon, but a pioneering neurosurgeon, which means that he didn't just like take some training. I mean, not to downplay any other neurosurgeon, but he also has to have a scientific background because he pioneered things in the field of neurosurgery. So he understands about science and the scientific method. And his dumb ass was out there without a mask. What? So he could be the secretary of an agency that the president don't even give a shit about? Girl, so fuck him. So if he dies, I mean, I am not going to actively wish for his demise, but I'm not going to be broken up about it because the shit was entirely, I feel, who I feel sorry for? I feel sorry for the people who need this job, who are like aides and work in the White House and need this job because this is how they fucking support their family. And, people that's got to work in Ben Carson's office because that's their fucking job and all of that. I have sympathy for those people if they catch COVID. I don't give a shit about him or Chris Christie or Herman Cain or any of those people who had enough money and smarts,
common sense
to know better. And Herman Cain is a fucking millionaire, and his ass still died.
So listen,
so that tells you it's no respecter, and it tells you that there is no amount of money. I mean, except the president, because apparently the president gets super secret spy shit. So we
just going to dash over that story. We just going to acknowledge the fact that Ben Carson tested positive for COVID.
Yes, so fuck him. So now comes the time where we must salute our girl, Stacey motherfucking Abrams. So Georgia is a blue state now. Well, it's strongly purple. I wouldn't go so far as to call it.
Yes, I think Georgia might be one of the only
They
purple
did.
states.
I mean, they did. There are more blue votes than they are red, but I would not put them into a reliably blue category.
No, I think they're going to flip flop. But now here's what I also will say: the large metropolitan areas of the state of Georgia, specifically Atlanta,
not just Atlanta, but Savannah,
but Savannah and all. But
Augusta,
again, I'm gonna point this out. Specifically, the girls, the gays, our sisters and brethren in the ATL. Listen,
they did the damn thing.
They did the motherfucking thing, and bitch, I let you fly whatever flag you want to fly, because bitch, you were amazing, and thank you for listening to all the work that Miss motherfucking Stacey Abrams have been putting down in that city and in that state, and hopefully people will be using that as a guide for how to go about this election process across this country.
Yeah, because listen, she could have been bitter as shit.
Oh, yeah.
She could have been bitter as shit that them hoes stole that election from her. Because she should be Governor Abrams right now.
She really should be. And she lost by a very small margin.
And she could be bitter as shit, but she wasn't. She took that shit and she turned it. And but
I guarantee you, when the next election comes around, she's gonna have a fair shot.
Oh yes,
a fairer shot.
Fairer shot, and I think that she is going to help them flip at least one of those Senate seats. Maybe not both of them, but at least one of them, because people are going to, for whatever reason. Everybody is not like me or you or the people watching this who see the long game and can think long term. If they don't see, like, it still surprises me that she registered 850,000 people to vote. I was like, there was that many people in the city where Martin Luther King all of these others, that they were people who weren't registered to vote. And this is going to be a group of people that are never going to register to vote.
That is correct.
But that there were so many people who were able to be convinced to vote.
That is correct. But then also remember, there were tactics that were being used in the state of Georgia.
That's true.
Where they were literally taking people who had deceased or hadn't voted and were removing them and expunging them and expelling them from the system. And she was one of them. And she was like, excuse me. No, I'm here. I actually have. That was what actually started her entire fight with starting the Fair Fight organization that she actually has. When she tried to go vote for her damn self, she was like, "Well, no, wait a minute. I'm on the fucking candidate. I'm on the fucking ticket." So
So, but my point was that people are going to see the outcome of their vote. Because if Joe Biden hadn't won, and if he hadn't won in part because of the margins in states like Pennsylvania and Georgia, then people might not. I mean, because they still got this special election, January the 5th, that's going to decide control of the Senate.
If you are in Georgia and please go and vote.
Listen, tell your girlfriends, tell your boyfriends, tell your
tell
mama,
everybody.
Everybody.
Get the kids together. If they just register them to vote. Just damn it, just go take them. No, I don't want you doing
so please vote for that, because these people, listen, patriotism, whatever. These people on the other side don't give a fuck about you, and just like they did Barack Obama, they will do everything in their power to literally stand still and receive their $180,000 salary and full health care a year without doing anything. They will literally do everything they can not to elect judges, although I think they will do whatever they can, but they'll do a little bit more because Joe Biden is white. Let's just be clear. We can't underestimate racism in this country, and the fact that there was a black man trying to be in charge, and they might not ever say it,
right,
but it was in all of their actions. And Joe Biden is at least going to get the respect of being a white man.
And he also still does. He agrees, just like Barack, he agreed with his bipartisanship and the fact that he likes to work across both sides.
Yeah, but that requires people that are going to meet you halfway.
Well, yes. Also,
it's one thing
but
that we both have the best interest of the country at heart, and we're going to do stuff. But with if you're coming like this, and the other person is just like, I'm just going to stop.
But the basic part of that is still having the ability or having the knowledge to know that what you need you can get what you need from the other person on the other side.
Yeah.
And being able to go towards them and say, this is what I need. How can we come to a conclusion where I get what I need and you get what you need?
And then once we have, because right now it's tied. It's 48-48.
Yes.
Or Democrats and Republicans. If we get those two, at least one of them, but both of those Senate seats, then there will be a clear majority for the Democrats. I think that's all on our agenda, but here's one other thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about these hoes in the Democratic Party who, because while the Democrats retain control of the House of Representatives, they did lose a couple of seats.
Well, they did.
So their majority is not as big, which some people like, I think her name is Spanberger, I think, was blaming it on the progressive wing of the party and, call us for things like, Medicare for all and defund the police. No shock that she's a white woman, and of course, our girl AOC is going to be president one day.
So, but AOC says
she isn't even qualified to be president yet by age, because you have to be 40 to be president.
But she also has said some things about the Democratic Party, warning them that to not sit down, and that this election was not necessarily won by the actions and the thoughts of the Democrats, but by the sheer need to have 45 out.
Yeah, so exactly. And so that doesn't mean all of these hoes believe in you.
Exactly.
They were voting against
and so
certain people. So don't try to act like you can go back to business as usual, because all of these people that were that registered to vote in Georgia, you fuck around and you will find that they won't be there in 2 years.
And her point is to not rest on your laurels, to know that it is a very good chance that it may not be, like, your support may not be there for the next election, especially if you don't organize yourselves and band together as a group.
Right. They need to listen. And as I get older, I'm fine with understanding that, the young people, and I don't say that in a derogatory thing.
No,
this world is different than, to me, you don't own a house.
You are 25 years old, I'll be like, you are a young person for me.
Right. When you don't own a house, but when we were growing up, the idea that you could own a house was like, of course we could.
We will have that conversation.
You don't own one yet. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
But people nowadays, just the idea that you will be 30 years old and still working a minimum wage job, or that you will be, there was always people that live with their family. Remember how we used to make fun of people for living with their family?
Sure.
But now kids live with their family because they don't have no fucking choice. So, life is just different. And people, in this generation, people 30 and under have different expectations and different needs, and they voted those needs. And you can no longer only listen to the old people. This is a lot of what politics is. They cater to old people, so they go to old folks' home. Medicaid is never on the table for for cuts or whatever, because old people. You got to remember, no shade, but these old people will die. These young people still going to be around, and if you piss them off now, they're going to remain pissed off. So as much effort as you put into making those older people happy, you're going to have to keep those younger people happy too. Mm-hmm. And Black people are more organized.
Yep.
Shout out to the amazing number they're like 6 or 8 Native Americans in Congress now.
Two
or openly gay Black men,
and then also there was a elected trans
woman, state representative.
Yeah, but then there's also somebody else that was already in a trans woman.
One in Virginia's she's like the comptroller or something.
Yeah, so
state representative. So the electorate is changing, and that's what AOC is saying. you need to recognize. And so Amy Spanberger, you know, and people's like, well, change it. You don't call it defund the police. Girl, understand what the word defund versus abolish is two entirely different things. Different. And also,
reading is fundamental,
and it's also up to the representatives to explain it.
Yes.
What that means. It doesn't mean that there's all of a sudden, listen, I don't need to explain this to you, girl, so I'm not going to. But ignore progressives at your own peril. Because let me tell you what progressives have realized. Girl, we've seen the worst under Donald Trump.
Yes, indeedy.
We've seen the worst.
Yes, indeedy.
So, I mean, and if you think you're going to just, you know, everybody's just going to be happy to go back to the bullshit, you think Negroes are going to be back happy to go back to the old okie doke? No. What you're going to find out is that all these people that voted you in will vote your ass right back out and put someone who is more progressive in. Yeah. Because there are a ton of people who are going to look at people like AOC that are going to look like these two. We could do a little better with slogans. Yes, we could. But they're going to look at people like AOC and these two black gay men, and these Native Americans and these Latinos.
Let's not count
the Latinos that voted for Trump.
Let's be more specific. They were Cuban.
Yes, the Cubans. Yeah, because, you know, they think they're white. You know, you ignore those people at your own peril because they will find people from within their community that people can rally around. You know, and, you know, I'm a big fan of term limits. I really think that everybody should be limited to a maximum number of years, not necessarily terms. And if we say senators are 6 years, so 2 6-year terms, so that means everyone's limited to 12 years. So that means 2 terms as senator, a maximum of 6 terms as a congressperson. And, you know, now then if you...
In this age of sound bites, we must be more strategic in our word choices so we win the battle and the war. Well, so
but defund to me.
I agree with what you're saying.
But I hear what he's saying. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I cut you off.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying I agree with what you're saying. But then at the same time, we just said this, or Dominion just said this about understanding the difference between the word defund versus abolish, or close down or take away.
I will say that. That's also a very inside the beltway kind of thinking. You don't work in the government, but you work close enough to the government that you understand it. I understand that defund means to take away funding.
Right.
It doesn't mean that organization goes away.
But
I really do think that there are
people you have a lot of funding.
Remember, you got to remember this country does a terrible job of education. So you got the people who are terribly educated combined with the people who are actively ginning up conflict and a poor word choice to make people not understand what it really is. And so we need a better marketing strategy around what defund the police is. Now, what is not at all unclear to me is abolish ICE. Because I just saw the video, I just posted it. This little girl, and the girl
about her
being reunited with her mother, and the little girl does not have the kind of reaction that a child should have
because
that little girl
fucking
is
traumatized.
Up. Let me tell you, because
and will forever be.
She has been every night of her life for the past 6 months. She's gone to think. I mean, I'm assuming they speak Spanish, so. She's mi madre. That's all she can think is, where is my mother? Where's my mother? And at some point, she became numb and she stopped. And so when it finally happened, she couldn't process it.
Yeah.
Now, I bet now, because that happened like 2 weeks ago, I bet by now that girl has had, you know, her sort of traumatic breakdown.
She may or may not have.
But at some point, she's going to. But what I tell you, what that's 7-year-old girl will have for the rest of her life, she is going to have attachment issues.
She's going to have separation issues.
That her mother isn't going to be able to go nowhere.
Her relationships are going to be fucked up.
She's going to be a 25-year-old woman, you know, in fucked up relationships with men who are terrible to her, who, you know, because abusers find that kind of shit out about people. And, you know, they're going to be able to treat her any old kind of way because she's so afraid to be alone and be without people that she's going to accept anything. And she's not going to be able to say that I deserve to be treated well because she is now fucked up. And I mean that with all due respect, because this is not what I want from her, but you don't have to be a psychologist.
You can see all the handwriting on the wall.
You do not have to be a psychologist to see that separating a 7-year-old girl from her mother for 6 months and putting her with complete strangers who probably didn't give a shit about her.
And to be clear, we have no idea what went on in these camps.
Right.
And the sheer idea that this 7-year-old child, this little girl, because it could be a little boy as well, the predators that were lurking either within the community and stuff that was being held, or even as the guards in the administration.
We already know that the foster system is fucked up for people who are American citizens.
And I feel so bad for her because I'm sure that there are probably some things that she saw that she should not have seen at 7 years old.
And, you know, she's 7 years old. You know, you think of the ones that are 4 or the ones that were infants. Yeah. They literally stole a woman away.
An infant away.
While the woman was breastfeeding.
Yeah.
So that means this child is literally dependent on this woman for sustenance, and they snatched the child away from her. Can you just anyway?
It's a lot,
right?
It's
so yes, we do need to work on our word choices, but you know, to Amy Spanberger and all these other people, this shit isn't going to go away.
No.
So you're going to find yourself a dinosaur.
Baked fucking potatoes.
Yes.
Tara, you know what?
But it's true though.
It is true because they have those little aluminum foil blankets. I swear to God, and they just,
yeah. All right, are we gonna wrap this up?
Yeah. Listen, we're gonna roll that beautiful bean footage as one of our brothers actually put it, and it's so stuck in my head right about now. So give us a couple of minutes and take a look at this bean footage here. Okay, Marcus.
Yes. So thank you guys for joining us. Sorry we had the issue. Good to know it was on YouTube's and not something that we did. Because I was like, girl, all I did was copy the link that they gave me. But okay,
we will see how to. But again, it's going to be YouTube. This will probably be our fallback. Just if we
we'll always be able to broadcast.
You know, every now and then we might do something on Facebook and like exclusives or whatever. 10-minute snippet of something. Okay. So I'm just saying. Okay. But
yes, but
going forward.
Right now, our first goal: tell everybody who watches the show, tell all your friends to subscribe to the YouTube channel, because again, 99% of our content from now on will be on the YouTube channel.
Yes.
Our first goal is to get to 100 subscribers, so we can get to we can create a custom YouTube channel name, so it no longer will be YouTube/XYZ Elemental P ABCDF1234. It can be YouTube/the BGKH show. And
we are working on a few other items here as we go along. I'm checking my emails. So we have a lot of stuff going on here. So listen, we trying to let me first say this. Shout out to Dominion for holding down the fort because the technology piece and a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, there's a lot of stuff that before we even get onto the air that this man actually does. So I just want to give that public acknowledgement that the hoe does have some brains up there, and she is doing. I'm just fucking with you.
That was very passive aggressive.
But
I mean, you're not as dumb as you look.
But I mean, shout out to Dominion for doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and so a lot of the stuff that we actually are doing, and even the way we do stuff. Actually, I will publicly acknowledge our script and everything else, and so it's a learning experience for myself. And so again, I appreciate you for doing that. But we are still working on.
I appreciate you.
we are still working on a few other things. So we have more stuff to come. Like I said, next week, as we mentioned earlier, tune in for Dominique
Morgan. Yes.
Dominique Morgan on our show next week. And we have some other upcoming guests coming up. So we'll see how that we got a lot of stuff going on. Just stay tuned. Just hold on. Just hold on. We got more stuff coming. So
smash that subscribe button.
Yeah, make sure.
And actually, if you follow that link, I was able to create a custom link. If you click on the link that we send you,
you can subscribe.
It takes you right to the subscribe. Yeah. So it's the first thing that
do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all that I had to say. Anything else you want to add, or?
I think we're good. Thank y'all for coming out. God bless you and good night.
Mwah.